3 ESPN Northwest Florida. I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Hear that? That's the plumpest, juiciest hot dogs you've ever seen getting their grill on. But we both know what'll make it sound even better. Oh yeah, it's a Pepsi to go with your hot dog. Because when you're chomping on America's favorite meal, relish, mustard, and onions perfectly blending into a crescendo of flavor, there's only one thing that makes everything about that moment better. A cold, refreshing Pepsi. See what I mean? It's like music to my ears. Hot dogs. Better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish. Nachos, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Swampy Jack here. I've traveled the world for decades and brought my most exciting adventures to Panama City Beach. Encounter the 25-foot-tall Swamp Ape. This indoor scrambler ride is synchronized for a multimedia experience like you've never felt. Put the pedal to the metal, racing around the Marrakesh track in electric go-karts. Supercharge your kart with special power-ups for extra speed or to sabotage opponents. And if you're hungry, grab a meal at Swampy's Cantina or enjoy an ice-cold beer. This and more at Swampy Jack's.
Guthrie's Golden Fried Chicken Fingers on Panama City Beach. Fresh, never frozen chicken tenders fried to perfection and served with their famous signature Guthrie sauce. Guthrie's box, snack, and chicken sandwich are sure to please. And for larger gatherings, try the family meal or Guthrie's Chicken Finger Bucket. Let Guthrie's cater your next event. Find their daily specials on Facebook. On Front Beach Road across from the Beach Shopping Center. Since 1965. Fresh, hot, and fast. Now available on DoorDash and Uber Eats.
Let your spring adventure begin at Bill Byrne Kia. Stop by today to discover why everyone is talking about the award-winning Kia. Now offering 1.9% APR up to 48 months on the purchase of a 2022 Kia Forte, K5, Soul, or Sorrento. Bill Byrne Kia is not only the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty, they're the home of the best customer experience anywhere. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillByrdKia.com. We make buying a car easy, and you'll enjoy the way we do business.
Offer from KMF for the purchase of a new 2022 Forte, K5, Soul, and Sorrento with $21.65 per month per $1,000 financed. That's 48 months. Quantities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Byrne Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 5/2/22.
United by sports. WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DN Mariana. Powered by Pepsi. ESPN Northwest Florida. Rise and shine, campers. It's a brand new day.
What a lovely morning.
Good morning, starshine.
You seem happy this morning.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming in early.
The Coach James Hale Show is live and local. Live from the J. Michaels Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Get past the people, get past the hit me! Hit me! 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Live from J. Michaels Studios. It is Dr. Chad Mitchell's show today. Chad, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Coach. Good morning.
Brian, he's traveled quite a bit, and usually he'll come in here with us one day a week. I thought he was out the whole week, and I still don't. I got to look at my phone, make sure when I got this thing right. But anyway, it'll be me and you today. He will be out Wednesday, and I think Tommy Santamont will be in here Wednesday. So, man, you go out of town, you're gone, and everything goes completely crazy when you're gone.
Well, what does that tell you?
You need to stay here. I don't know if you've heard, and I think I texted you last night. We will. I know this is absolutely crazy because this was a big topic all week long. That we will have a new baseball coach at Mosley, the defending state championship coach, Hall of Fame coach. Let go. Will not have a teaching position at Mosley, and no word yet why they made that choice. and everybody's like still wondering. So that's one of the things that happens that you were gone.
Wow. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah, and we all think the world of him, and we all think the world of the administration at Mosley. So we're kind of like, try to ride
On
the
the
fence
edge of
a
our
little bit.
seats. Okay, what pieces of information are we missing? What do we not know? Yeah.
A lot of people want to know that, and we're not getting any. I mean, as we get it, we'll let you guys know. But as of today, we still don't know anything. And Tommy Sanema said, "Hey, he'll get a really good job. He's only won the state championship at Florida last year and plays for it a couple years ago." So anyway, but I got some local stuff I want to get in real quick. Then I got to talk to you. Now, you know what? Wait a minute, Doc. Let's talk about Bike Week. If you had the opportunity to be on Panama City Beach this weekend, I hope you drove real careful. It was crazy, man. This has to be one of the biggest bike weeks I've ever seen.
Wow.
I know you didn't get out there in it.
Yeah.
Leighton Bell, Lorelei had practice. Leighton Bell had a soccer game. Ron Moby's her coach, and we had to be out there. So it took us probably a good 45 minutes, maybe an hour. I can't really remember now to get from Bay Point to Frank Brown Park. Once you got past the motorcycle place up there, Harley Davidson up there, it got a little bit better, but the traffic was unbelievable. Motorcycles everywhere. So after practice, I said, I'm not doing this. You couldn't even take a left out of Pier Park, heading towards Pier Park from Frank Brown Park. You had to take a right and go to a U-turn, which is very dangerous. So I said, you know what? We took a right, went down got on 79, and then took a right on Philip Griffin's on the bypass, whatever you want to call it. And went got past there, got on it, a lot easier, a lot better. So
it still should be 4-laned.
We got. I got to be careful. I got some politics that are friends.
It should have been 4-laned.
So I got to be very careful what I say. They get mad at me when I say,
well, listen,
what the heck are you guys doing, man? Who's planning this stuff out?
To begin with, I mean, we're not growing fast enough.
Is Gomer out there planning everything? Back
All
here
I did is stir him up, I think.
I mean, I've never seen anything like it. Plan it out correctly. Good. Of course, we can always build some more apartments somewhere. I mean, it's amazing.
It's amazing how many of those are going up as well.
You were talking about out there. You cannot believe the growth of the beach. Well,
right, yeah. I mean, for years, when I came here in 2000, everybody talked about, this growth. And then it was growing a little bit here and there, then Pier Park. But, man, it seems to be absolutely exploding right now out there.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I ain't like heading towards Pier Park during the summertime. Anyway, hey, the other reason it was so packed out, I didn't even know this until later because I love the guy. I saw him in concert one time, and that's one of the most talented guys I've ever seen. He can play any instrument. He can write. He can sing. He can do it all. Kid Rock was on the beach Saturday.
Yeah.
And played. Did you know? I didn't even know it.
I saw him in concert. Oh God, when he released his first album.
Did you?
I saw him in concert in a field in Texas, and it was an all-day outdoor concert kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he came out there, and I mean, he just kicked its.
It's unbelievable.
You know what?
The guy's unbelievable.
I mean, yeah, and he's a neat person.
Yeah.
I've seen interviews with Dan Rather and read interviews, and he's just a down to earth kind of guy.
Good
he's
American.
Like, I'm not. And he's totally an American.
Yeah.
And he's
the left doesn't like him because he doesn't put up with their BS.
And he calls them out.
Yeah.
He calls them out.
I love it. But he put a great show on. I saw some Facebook stuff and people there and videos. Some of it. He's incredible. Have you ever seen him in person?
I've not seen him in person. I've seen him on some interviews here and there.
You
on
really
television.
need to go.
Yeah,
Next time he's in town, you need to go see him. I mean, I couldn't believe how good he was. Anyway, that's another reason it was completely packed out this week on Panama City Beach.
That's a good reason.
If you did not, hey, listen, I'll give you a little hint out there. If you own a business, and if it's any type, let's just say a restaurant or you sell certain things, if you didn't make a lot of money this weekend, I'm not sure you're going to make a lot of money because people made money this weekend. They showed a picture of Newbies, and John Sharp, one of our great sponsors. It was like a parking lot to a Super Bowl or something. There were so many people at Newbies, it was unbelievable. But they do a great job. They had every type of tent you can think of set up, all kind of merchandise for the people into biking and things. Chad's got 2 or 3 Harleys that he's had over the years. And, the $50,000
I'll explain why
ones.
I actually don't.
His wheels are plated in gold. I mean, it's incredible.
24 karat mag wheels, huh?
he got that big old truck. That's the reason he got those trucks to carry those things in.
Well, listen, I love motorcycles, and I know people enjoy
I would
riding.
get on one.
I have taken care of so many people on motorcycles. Actually, when I was younger, I actually had an accident on a motorcycle as well.
Yeah.
Not that I'm scared of them. None of that. I could ride one right now, but. The statistics are they're not for you.
Well, especially now with everybody on their set. I didn't even, I said, I didn't pull the cover off of mine this weekend.
Yeah.
My motorcycle stayed underneath the pole barn with the cover on it because every time I get out on it around this time of year, and of course the fall, Thunder Beach, I don't even pull it out because, one, you got people that trailer them down here and ride them twice a year, and another is cell phones. I mean, that's probably the number one cause of motorcycle death are cell phones.
Yeah. My nephew got in a terrible wreck. They had put pins all through his legs and stuff. This was up in Alabama. But I always thought when I got older I'd get one. Tommy Santamont had one. Tommy had a big Harley. And I'm telling you, ever watch Andy Griffin's show and Barney's driving the motorcycle? That's what it reminds you of. That's exactly. No, me and Phil.
Listen,
I told him. I told him to his
face. Tommy's listening.
I told him, right. I said, and when first time he drove up on it, he about lost it. I mean, it was a big, heavy bike, and he was trying to hold it up.
Yeah.
And me and Phil, when he drove off, he said, "You know what? He's gonna kill himself that motorcycle." And he got rid of it, but it was a gorgeous motorcycle, no doubt about that. But anyway, it was a great week from Panama City Beach. And, hey, some great things happened on Panama City Beach. I want to talk about the Arnold Marlins, and hopefully we'll get Coach Jones on here this morning. Arnold, Chad, they set a school record, most wins in a season, 19-6. They're
awesome.
3-0 in the district. There's a new kid on the block when it comes to baseball in Panhandle, Florida. I really believe that. He's got it rolling over there. It's his second year, man. His second year. We got 2 freshmen. They're two unbelievable freshmen on that baseball team. Bayhigh, they're taking on the chin this year, 3-19. They're 1-2 in district play. Bozeman, Patton was on here. Of course, they got the secret weapon. They were on here Friday. They're tearing it up. They're 21-3.
Awesome.
4-0 in the district. They got a chance to win a
record.
state championship.
Yeah.
They really do. Of course, that's tough. That's a tough.
And that's been a good program.
Every year since he's been there, I think he's been in the playoffs. I think every single year he's made the playoffs. And Mosley's, we already talked about everything that's going on there, but their record's gotten better. Probably the most difficult schedule in the state of Florida. Nobody wanted to play. When you win a state championship, nobody wants to play you. Yeah. And that's just a fact of life. They're 14-10. He had to schedule people just to get games. 0-0 in the district. They haven't started their district play yet, I don't believe. North Bay Haven's 10-13, 2-1 in district. Rutherford, I tell you, Coach does a great job at Rutherford. Coach Coughlin's doing a wonderful job over there. They're 9-12, 2-2 in district play. Chipley, we got great folks up there in Chipley. They've always, Chad, they play for state championships. They've always really good in baseball.
They play good ball.
And them and Bozeman will meet up sooner or later. They're 14-10, 0-0 in district. Mariana, appreciate the people up there that listen. They're 12-12, 0-1, and I think they lost to Liberty 4-3 on Friday. Softball, what we got going on softball? The Marlins, they lost to Liberty, I believe, on Friday. I think so. District record, I don't have that. I think they're 0-0 in district. But anyway, overall record, Rick's got them rolling pretty good, 19-6. Bay High School is 2-18, 0-1 district play. Bozeman, 500, 8-8, 0-0 district. Mosley, 12-11 in softball, no district record right now. North Bay Haven is 13-9. They always do a good job over there in girls softball. They're 5-1 in district play. Rutherford's taking on the chin this year. Them and Bay both kind of struggling in girls softball. They're 0-19, 0-2 district play. Chipley is 10-13, 4-3 in district. Mariana's tearing up in softball. 17-4,
awesome.
1-1 in district play. And this was brought to you by the our ESPN 104.3 secretary. So I appreciate that. Chet, did you have a good little? I don't want to ask you on the air. Where were you when you missed our show and we weren't prepared because
I sent you a picture.
That was nice.
I
didn't know if you wanted me to say that.
I was right there. I was right where I took the picture. That's where I was when you were texting me.
What city was that?
This was actually in the Caribbean. It's island Anguilla. It's right across the water from St. Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was beautiful down there.
I mean, did you get
the water was rough. You had the red flags out several times, but the breeze, man, I had one of the best experiences ever sitting at a table for dinner in the sand on the beach, and the breeze is coming through. It was perfect. Everything about it was perfect.
Was it crowded?
No, that island. So that island is more quiet. Like St.
Now, is that the island you stayed on?
Yeah. That's okay. And so they don't allow jet skis. It'd be sailboats or motorboats going different places. A lot of snorkeling. You can walk off the beach and go snorkeling.
Yeah.
It kind of a quiet, laid-back island, which is kind of what I like as I get older. Don't get me wrong. I was the fun-loving guy in the past.
Now, this is one of these private islands where everybody just walks around kind of half.
Well, no, it is not one of those. I think
to be him.
Yeah. There's a beach on St. Martin, I think, like that.
Oh God! Oh my God! You got a little red there. I look at your head.
Yeah, Anguilla is a lot more conservative when it comes to that.
Can you fly
they want
in?
you to wear clothes.
Yeah. Can you fly into that island, or you have to take a boat to that one?
I took American from Miami into Anguilla.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad you had a great
Stayed
time.
at Zimmy Beach
I
Resort.
hope you read that text I sent you that you owe me a trip. All the wonderful things.
After I sent him the picture.
Yeah, I did. I said, you don't remember what I did? Now, I don't like pointing out what I did for you. All them big bills I had to flash.
Stood me up for lunch, did all these things.
I was looking for you. Where's Chad?
Yeah, right.
That was a good time we had. And that was a good game, too. Bama wore him out, didn't they? I can't remember.
The game Tua got hurt.
Oh, my God. Never mind. Forget it.
Oh.
All right, let's talk about some of our great people. Dr. Chad Mitchell was with us this morning, a legendary doctor, 22 years on Bay County sidelines. Chad, not only do you take care of the great athletes, you take care of everybody. If they have an injury, what is the best way? Matter of fact, my son, I said, go see Chad. His back's messed up. I said, you should go see Chad. He can get you in the right direction. What do we do to get up with you?
Call Southern Orthopedic Specialists at 850-785-4344, or you can look me up at www.chadmitchellmd.com.
And there's no rumor out there that you are leaving. That is another Mitchell, Dr. Mitchell in this county.
Yeah, that's another Dr. Mitchell. Hadn't been here as long as I have. He's going somewhere else.
Yeah,
but,
not near as handsome either.
Yeah, I've been here 22 years. This is my town, as I say it. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Stevenson Air Conditioning. The heat is on its way, so Stevenson Air Conditioning's on its way. If you need them, give them a call. I don't care what time, day or night. If yours stops, call them. They'll get out there. They do an incredible job. Stevenson Air Conditioning, number one, not even close. Think about real estate. You got to think about when you go to closing. And understand, you don't want any surprise. This is the time. This is it. And it's when you sign it. It's when your money's being passed around. So you got to think about South Oak Title and Closing. You got to think about Chuck Tucker. All the big-time realtors use them. I mean, the big boys down on 38, Mark Cowart, Beth, all of them. They want Chuck Tucker. They demand Chuck Tucker. You do the same thing. South Oak Title and Closing. We're with Dr. Chad Mitchell this morning. Hopefully we'll get Arnold's baseball coach on here in a minute. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd. At one point, you and Kyrie were on a podcast and you said, we don't need coaches. In the history of sports, college and pro, there's never been a dynasty without a great coach. Not one. Look it up. Bill Walsh, Chuck Noll, Popovich, Saban. You and Kyrie, we'll coach. Come on, man.
This is The Herd.
Weekdays 11 to 2, ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Good Monday morning. I'm forecasting mostly sunny skies today. Temperatures in the low 80s as high pressure builds in. A south wind about 10 to 15. Water temperature in the Gulf is 74. Partly cloudy overnight around 68. And Tuesday and Wednesday should be mostly sunny in the low 80s and light south winds expected. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, best little lumber yard in Panama City and Youngstown. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby. The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Is that the sound of an ooey gooey, cheesy, crunchy slice of P-I-Z-Z-A? Obviously. But as good as that sounds, we think it can get even better. Oh yeah, that's the sound of a freshly opened fizz-filled Pepsi. The only thing that can take this flavor medley of crunchy dough, mouth-watering cheese, and savory sauce to the next level. How about another bite? Pepsi and pizza sound like a match made in heaven and taste even better. Pizza, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
With a new face at first and some of the best arms in the National League, this 2022 Braves team is loaded up for another run at the crowd.
Swung on, lifted high and deep to right field, headed for the chop house, heads up out there, gone, home run!
Tonight, the battle for the NL East gets an early test on the road in New York as the Braves roll into Citi Field to take on the New York Mets.
Coverage starts at 6. First pitch, 6:10 on 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Broadcasting live from the J. Michaels Studios.
The best part of waking up is
the Coach James Hale Show. Powered by Pepsi, 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Do it, James. Chaz dancing. You all see dancing right now. Dang, Dr. Mitchell can move. Good job, Chaz. That split you did, jump back up, turn around, pick around. That's unbelievable, man.
I'll pay for that the next week.
Yeah, that was James Brown. I love James Brown. He's incredible. We're going to get Coach on the line for us. I tell you what, they're doing a wonderful job over there at Arnold High School. Wouldn't it be something they do something special this year, win a championship,
Absolutely.
make the playoffs, and then we get Bozeman. I'm hoping that Mosley gets it going and finishes really strong.
I do too.
That would be a great send-off for Coach to get another championship. Just to get there, would be unbelievable. We got 3 really great ball clubs here in Bay County this year. I still put Mosley in there because I know who they played. Their record might not be as good as some of these other schools, but who they played, that's a big part of it. But I am really impressed.
I always think it's good to play opponents that are better than you or that are going to challenge you. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Sometimes it gets you fired, though. Anyway. All right, let's bring him on. Coach Jones, how you doing, sir? You got it? Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
There you go.
You got me?
Yes, sir. We got you.
Good. How you guys doing this morning?
Hey, we are doing out. Dr. Mitchell's with us this morning, like always. I tell you what, congratulations. The most wins ever in one season that I can remember, and we were there when it opened up, so I think I'm the expert. 19-6 Arnold Marlin baseball. Can you believe that?
That's awesome.
That's been a long time coming, Coach.
Good job, Coach.
Thank you. It was the players I got a good seat to watch, but they've been remarkably consistent. And baseball is a game of trying to be consistent. And high school baseball, you don't find this kind of consistency too often. But we give it good effort every night, and the kids have been great. And we've had some tough ones, some close ones. We had some easier ones. But throughout the year, they showed up to play. They just love being around each other. They really enjoy. I mean, it's a team. There's a lot of camaraderie there. Not everybody out for themselves. So it's been a lot of fun to watch. Like I said, I get the best seat in the house. And you guys give me credit for stuff that I don't really think I do. These kids are really playing great and just enjoying every step of it. And so proud of them. 19-6 school record for wins with 19. And I said it to them after the game the other day. It's not just that we set the school record. I believe we set the school record playing the toughest schedule that Arnold's ever played.
There you go.
Schedule. So it's a heck of a good year, and they should be really proud of it.
And what's amazing, 2 of the better players are freshmen. Freshmen. Can you believe that?
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Unbelievable. And district play, I believe we're 3-0 in district play. And now you talking about the schedule, it's going to get tougher once you get into playoffs and things. But Give us a run. I tell you what, go back to last week since we hadn't talked to you in a while. Tell us what you guys have done and what you got coming up this week.
So we had 2 games last week. We were able to beat North Bay Haven Academy on Monday, 9-3. That was our senior night. We were able to start all 8 seniors and let them run around a little bit. And then we went to Choctaw on Wednesday, and we ended up winning 13-3, which is, I think, really not the way the game went, but that's the way it ended up. It was 2-2 going in the 5th inning. It was actually a really good baseball game, and then Cooper Moss hit a grand slam in the top of the 5th, I believe it was, to put us up 6-2, and then the wheels kind of fell off there. We scored 6 runs the next inning with Warwick Wilmot hitting a home run also, so we made that one look a lot more lopsided than the game really was for most of the game. But we were able to win both games last week, and like we said, we got to 19 wins for the program, which is most ever so far. And then we have district tournament this week, and we'll see what we can do with that.
I'll be honest, when I saw that score, I thought, wow. Then you tell me it was closer, then it kind of blew them out the end. But they're pretty doggone tough, and that's incredible. Was that game played at Arnold or over there in Choctaw?
That was over in Choctaw. Their field's a little small, and I know I'm coming from a place where our field's a little small, but their field's a little small, so the ball jumped out of there. But yeah, we scored 10 runs in the 5th and 6th inning combined to make a 2-2 game look really lopsided. But that's a good, solid team. But in high school, sometimes when you get the starting pitcher out of there and get to the bullpen, sometimes that's your chance to put some points on the board, as they say, and we were able to do that. So that's a much better team than the score indicates. That they're a good, solid team. It's just one of those games where once things went downhill for them, it kept going. So.
Well, I tell you what, Coach, tell us about the district. Remind everybody out there who are the teams in the district and who's going to be playing who and where and how it fits in with you guys.
Okay, well, the district tournament starts today. We have 5 teams in our district. The 4th and 5th place teams were Bay High School and Pensacola High School. And so Pensacola playing at Bay tonight at 6 o'clock. We will play the winner of that game tomorrow at Arnold at 6 o'clock. And then the other game is West Florida at South Walton tomorrow at 6 o'clock. So tomorrow is the semifinals of the district. Today, I guess, will be the quarterfinals. There's only one sort of play-in game today. That's between Bay and Pensacola, and we're going to play the winner of that one on Tuesday. And the winner of the Tuesday games will play on Thursday for the championship.
Okay. All right. And then after that, the champions of the district tournament is definitely in, and then not the runner-up, but then where you're ranked. Am I correct on this? Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Whoever wins the district championship will be guaranteed in the playoffs, and they'll have a first-round home game in the playoffs. And then there's 4 district champions in the region, and the next 4 teams that are the most highly ranked teams will get the 4 sort of at-large bids for the playoffs, and there'll be 8 teams in the playoffs in the region total.
Okay.
So if we were to win the district championship, we get to play home next Wednesday in the playoffs. If we lose it, we hope that we get in, and if we do, then we'd be on the road first round of the playoffs next Wednesday. So from a Arnold perspective, that's how we're looking at it. Either a home game round 1, or hopefully we get in and then we have to go on the road. So
yeah,
obviously a whole lot better to play at home and know we're in and not have to worry about it.
When you're going in these district games and stuff like this, I mean, do you have already in your mind who you're going to pitch in these certain district games? Are you going to say the best for the biggest game, or do you make sure you get that first district win? You've seen who you've played. You got a little scout report. If you don't mind, just kind of going to break down what your philosophy is on that.
Right. Well, we have a plan, but, there's a phrase, man plans and God laughs. So you never know exactly. We have to win tomorrow. So we have a plan for tomorrow. Eli Blair will get some innings for sure tomorrow, the freshman lefty. But if things don't go well, then, it's all hands on deck. Because we want to make sure that we get a chance to win tomorrow and get to Thursday. And so if we can get through tomorrow with Eli Blair or Darren Watson, those kind of guys that have been doing a great job for us all year, then that'll save us the Ethan Gill and the Cooper Moss for Thursday, and we can split the game there somehow. We're going to try and minimize, innings a little bit on those 2 actually might want to stretch out Ethan Gill a little bit more on Thursday in case we do get in the playoffs to get him ready for a start in the playoffs. But that's the plan. I mean, but like I said, depending on how things go in Tuesday's game, I might throw all four of those guys I just mentioned on Tuesday just to try and get to Thursday, and then, we'll see who shows up to throw on Thursday. But that's the plan for now.
Tell me one more time, for the state playoffs, they used to have it spread out. I know the bigger classifications, I think, are going to have to play more games within a week. How many is it the number of innings or number of pitches the pitcher can do in a week? Is it innings or is it pitches?
I believe it's just okay. So you might put me in a spot here. I believe it's just pitches per game.
Okay.
So from what I read, so there's a maximum number of pitches per game. For example, Cooper Moss has thrown a number of innings for us, and he's a freshman, so he only gets 95 pitches per game because of his age. But a junior or senior, 17, 18-year-old, gets 105 pitches per game. And then there is a certain number of days rest depending on how many pitches he's thrown. So it is possible, because the playoffs next week would be Wednesday, Saturday in Class 4A.
Yeah.
So you could throw, maybe 3 innings Wednesday and still come back on Saturday depending on your pitch count.
Yeah.
And then you're free to throw, frankly, up to that many pitches again on Saturday, even though you throw on shorter rest. You probably shouldn't do that, but that's not included in the rules. So somebody theoretically could throw 59 pitches on Wednesday and come back and throw 105 pitches on Saturday. And by rule, I believe that would be legal. But that's probably not something you see Arnold do.
Okay. I'm glad you told me that. That's good. So I'm not an expert on baseball, but you really need to have more than one stud pitcher to probably win a state championship. Wouldn't you think you need 2 or 3 really good pitchers to make a deep run, or am I wrong on that?
No, you're 100% right, especially this year, the way it's worked out. Last year, my first year here, it was 1 game per week in the playoffs. So you could really have one really good pitcher and get your way all the way to the state championship game, and then you have to throw somebody else. But now with 2 games in a week, you're going to need, the 2 starters and then at least 1 and probably 2 solid relievers to get you through, because right after those 2 games, there's another game on Tuesday. So the first 3 rounds of the playoffs all happen within 7 days of each other.
Wow.
For whoever, advances that far. So to get from here to Fort Myers, we'd have to play, or somebody's going to have to play 3 games in 7 days and get through it on the mound. So we're talking probably, I think really at the end of the day, whichever team has the best 4th pitcher might end up being the team that goes to Fort Myers, because it's going to come down to probably a second reliever at some point having to step up and put up a couple of zeros there and give your team a chance. So,
well, Coach,
we'll have to see how things go.
Thank you we're running out of time. Thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate doing a wonderful job. Again, I know for a fact you made history. You got to be careful. They take things down and hide the records and stuff over there, so you got to be careful. You did it. You got the record. I want to make dang sure everybody knows that. Hey, great job. We'll talk to you next week, and go get yourself a district championship.
That would be the first 2. We're looking forward to a chance at that.
All right,
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach Jones. Unbelievable job, Chad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dr. Chad Missels with us this morning. If you love golf, where are you going to go? Everybody knows Bay Point. I mean, it's incredible. Great golfers go to Bay Point. And then Chad Mitchell goes to Bay Point also. So, I mean, you get everything out there, right?
You do. Yes, absolutely.
They're incredible. And a place to go, too, on Friday and Saturday nights. You don't have to beat the crowds. You can go there. You don't have to worry about getting run over by a motorcycle. Get out to Bay Point. Have a wonderful time. We'll be right back. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Mike Greenberg. Greeny.
They're going to fire Steve Nash, the Nets are, because there's nothing else to do. You can't do anything with KD. You can't do anything with Kyrie. You can't do anything with Ben Simmons. And those 3 are their actual problems. What they'll do is they will just reshuffle the deck chairs on the Titanic. They'll bring in someone else to coach them, and that other person will stand there helplessly on the sideline while that team winds up underachieving.
Weekday afternoons from 2 till 4. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
I'm Matt Glover with Aero Pest Service, and we are your family-owned and operated pest control company in Bay County since 1977. We can help you have a lawn that you can enjoy with your family. We can get rid of all the insects that destroy your parties. We can get rid of the weeds that give you anxiety, and we can fertilize your lawn and make sure that it's completely green and healthy, just the way you like it. Give us a call today at Aero Pest Service, 850-874-1900.
Hey there, I'm Swampy Jack. I've traveled the world for decades, and now I've brought some of my most exciting adventures to Panama City Beach. Brave perilous heights of the Kraken Tower swing as you soar above the beach. The whole family will have fun playing my new mini golf course, which recreates my expedition to the ruins of Angkor Wat. Skip the restaurant lines and enjoy a meal at Swampy's Cantina, and enjoy a beer while you listen to laughter bubbling from the spin coaster. Your adventure awaits at Swampy Jack's Wongo Adventure.
Chuck was terrible at fishing. He spent many frustrating hours attempting to get results he saw from internet videos, aggravating trial and error fishing trips, and misguided advice from well-intended friends. Chuck is happy now with his newfound success after he visited Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, where we keep fishing fun, simple, and successful. See us soon at Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, located directly off Highway 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach.
He's a 10-foot-tall, barrel-chested beast man who showers in vodka and feeds his baby shrimp scampi.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Please welcome.
Pain don't hurt.
Live and local from the J. Michaels studio, the Coach James Hale Show, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Hey, we got to give a big shout out to North Bay Haven Charter Academy. Chad, this is incredible. They are one of the best high schools in the United States. USA World Report. Can you believe this?
That's good.
Thank goodness they're the number one high school in Bay County. Top 10% of high schools in the country. So great job, North Bay Haven. And, you know, they got a big deal going on there. It affects sports, the sales tax, whatever it is. Got the correct, is it the sales tax? Or I forget what tax it is. Anyway, they feel like they should get more of it, and they're complaining somewhat against our school district. And I thought we're all in this together. If their families are paying taxes, they probably should get some of the tax money, right? I mean, I don't know all.
I don't understand the Charter Academy stuff. Maybe I should look into it a little bit more. But yeah, so it's hard for me to make an intelligent statement on that. But yeah, if you're paying taxes, then there ought to be some rights somewhere in there.
Well, I just know they had to use the football. Tommy Oliver, they charged them to use it. I think they're the only school they charged to use the sports facility, which I never thought that was right. So that it does affect them sport-wise.
I had a friend of mine say something recently, and it resonated with me and other people that were at the table. But he says, you know what? He goes, I think our governments think about taxes wrong. He goes, when you pay money for something, you're supposed to be getting something in return. It's a contract. And, it's a contract with your federal government when you pay taxes that they're supposed to be providing some services for you. Same with state and county and everything else, So anyway, it was a comical conversation to hear this guy put it that way. But, he's right.
Yeah.
He's absolutely right. I mean, the government's supposed to be for the people. It's not supposed to be, for the elites.
It's for the elites. It's for them to make money. It's for them to have power.
It's supposed to be for the people. That's the whole purpose of the government. But anyway, that's a generalization. I don't really know the details on this particular situation, but I have heard some complaints through the years about the charter schools, the issues there.
Yeah.
So
I do want to, before we get into the NFL draft, and by the way, the SEC dominates again. I want to talk about a coach. Barry Switzer gets a lot of praise for being the guru at Oklahoma, and we got some old timers that know who really got the Oklahoma Sooners rolling. And this guy was, I don't know if you remember him or not, Bud Wilkerson.
Absolutely, I do.
remember he worked for ABC Sports. Him and I forgot the other guy, Fleming, I think, who did this games before Keith Jackson.
Right.
They did a great job calling games. Well, he was born this a couple days ago. He was born. He was 100. He would have been 106. Okay, if he was still alive. But he was truly one of the greatest football coaches ever in college football history. He's the one that really got Oklahoma going. He was the head football coach at Oklahoma from 1947 to 1964, leading to Oklahoma to one of the greatest dynasties ever in college football. The one we see Alabama still on right now, they say is the greatest ever in the history of college football. This one back in the 50s was pretty incredible too. From 1953 to 1957, Oklahoma won 47 consecutive football games.
Dang.
That record still stands today.
That's awesome.
No other team has ever won 47 straight games. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Great team, great coach.
And you know who beat him to break the record? Now I take that back. It was either Alabama beat him. No, Alabama and Bear Bryant beat him in the Orange Bowl when President Kennedy was at the game. Joe Namath was the quarterback. But what snapped their winning streak was Kentucky when he played them in the Sugar Bowl. Bryant said, "You give us an invitation, we'll guarantee you a win." He did. They beat Oklahoma and Bud Wilkerson in New Orleans. But I always thought Notre Dame broke it. But anyway, that's what I read. So it might be written by an Alabama guy. I don't know.
No bias there.
Yeah.
It's actually presented on the radio station by an Alabama guy.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, so it's got to be right. If we're doing it, it's got to be right. But he led Oklahoma to 13 conference titles. 13 conference titles. He won 3 national championships. Anyway, the guy was an incredible football coach. His overall record, Oklahoma, 145 wins, 29 losses. 145 wins, 29 losses, 4 ties. That's unbelievable.
That is unbelievable.
That's like Nick Saban. That's a Nick Saban type record what he's doing in Alabama. He was the head football. Now he left. He's coached the NFL and didn't go too well. Like it didn't go too well for Spurrier, Saban, Les Miles, or not Les Miles, but who was the other one? Anyway, he was the Cardinals coach from 1978 to 1979, and then he got into TV. But anyway, I wanted to give a little shout out to him because everybody kept talking about what a great job Barry Switzer did, and he did. He did a really wonderful job there. But Barry's a little bit different than Bud. Bud was very disciplinarian, first class, wore suits, expect his players to look and act a certain way. And if you think back, if you want to read a book, Bootlegger's Son, I think is the name of it, by Barry Switzer. It's pretty incredible. Then there was another book you could read about what went on when he was the head coach at Oklahoma. Some of the things the football players did in their dorms, shooting guns off, the deal with the girls, the vehicles they had. It was like the Wild Wild West when he was there at Oklahoma. But I to be honest with you, I think he's a really good guy though. I mean, he did some things.
Switzer, yeah.
But I will say this: he did one thing I can't talk on the air that I know for a fact was not very good. Not what a very good guy will do. But anyways, one of the assistant coaches that I'll tell you. I'm going to tell you this off there. But what a draft day!
Stirring
man.
everybody's
good stuff
interest
happened
up.
off there.
This was terrible. I mean, it was really some bad stuff. But we got to listen. I don't care if you love them or hate them. You got to have a lot of respect for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you a question about this. I want to talk about Georgia's defense. Is it the greatest defense in college football history? After watching the draft, I want to say yes. When you have 5 first-round draft picks, it's never happened in the history of college football where you had 5 players in the first round off the defense side of the ball go in the first round of the NFL draft. That's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
But then I go back, and the reason I don't know for sure, it's got to be one of them. I know there's top 2 or 3. I want to say it's the best ever, and I probably will. But I watched them in the SEC championship game get torn up. That defense got cut up by Bryce Young.
Yeah,
like
and
you wouldn't believe.
I mean, just to make the argument, just to play devil's advocate here, in the national championship game, I mean, Alabama's missing some key players, and they were in that game.
Yeah, went too well to the
stud.
So Williams goes out.
But listen, that is not a knock on Georgia's defense. Yeah. Georgia's defense played pretty well. Is it the best I've ever seen? No. Is it one of the best I've ever seen? Yes, it is one of the best I've ever seen. And they had some great players, and they deserve the accolades, especially with the draft.
It's unbelievable.
They definitely deserve that. Absolutely.
I don't know, Chad. I think back, Bama had some great defenses. Miami had an unbelievable amount of talent back. I think it was 2001. Florida State's had some defensive football teams.
Florida State's had some really good defenses. I just remember, as a teenager and as a college student and all that, watching FSU. I called them headhunters.
Yeah, led by Mickey Andrews.
Oh my goodness! I mean, they would lay the wood to you.
Well, and I'll even go further. I'll say this: it might make some Georgia fans upset, but you look the schedule Georgia played, and I had them win the national championship when I looked at their schedule compared to Ohio State and some of these. And Ohio State was not what we thought this year. Clemson was not what we thought. But when you look at the schedule they played, they went against some quarterbacks that really weren't that great. Clemson quarterback week 1 was not very good. So they didn't face great quarterbacks until they got in the SEC championship game and the national championship game. And that's when they struggled I knew I'd get some phone calls over there. They struggled against Alabama and a great quarterback and a really good offense. So, but when you get 5 guys drafted, I don't know, man. And I watched what they did. I'm going to say this. It's the best. It is the best rush defense in college football I've seen. They can stop the run like I've never seen.
Yeah,
their pass rush. Some of the big boys up front that got drafted in the first round. I question their pass rushing ability. I'm talking about the interior guys, defense linemen. We got a caller.
I think so.
All right, let's take this call. Good morning.
Good morning, Coach.
How you doing?
Doing good. How about them 15 Georgia Bulldogs drafted in the draft total?
All right, let's talk about
all-time record.
We're going to have to hold you over because we got to ask you, seriously, be honest, because I go back and forth. Is it the greatest defense in football, college football history? When you look at everything, they didn't face some great quarterbacks till they got the SEC championship game, and they didn't look very good against Bama on that day.
No, they did not. But let me tell you, you look at that Alabama sideline, look at how many NFL players was on that team. Yeah. So you got the two best quality talented teams in the nation going to be battling each other every year. And it ain't about the money at this point. It's about the notoriety. Each team is so quality, so many great athletes all the way across the board. Mechie and Jamison Williamson together was unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable. You can't anybody, Coach, you could go back there and throw the ball to them and have all this.
You want to bet?
I think he played defense.
Like I said, those boys were just unbelievable. You know, the receivers made Bryce Young look better than maybe he really is.
Yeah.
So you got to think about that too. You know, so
sure.
Each team had all of its own problems. We were very inconsistent a lot of times on offense.
Hey, listen, I hate to do it. We got to take this break. Can you hold on? Don't hang up.
Hold on.
Yeah, don't hang up. All right, let's talk about some of our great people. Newbies. We talked about Bike Week. We talked about newbies. We knew it would be packed out because everybody loves to go to newbies. It's incredible. If you haven't been there, get out there, especially the mothership. The best bands in the Southeast every Friday and Saturday night. Newbies 2 on the Curve to go watch all baseball games. You watch Atlanta Braves. You can watch college. You can do whatever you want. Great place. Great people. John and Charlotte do such a wonderful job. Get out to Newbies. Support them. Also, Dr. Ward, 1 in 5 develop skin cancer. If it doesn't look right, it doesn't feel right, go see Dr. Ward. If you're listening right now in Northwest Florida, there's an office near you. Don't put it off. Thank God I went. He's doing 2 operations on me. The guy's incredible. Dr. Ward. All right, we'll be right back. Talking about the Georgia Bulldogs. It's the greatest defense ever. 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. The Paul Feinbaum Show.
ESPN's got the draft covered. They don't need our help. What we're going to mainly concentrate on are things that interest our audience. We have a couple of head coaches lined up that are going to be out there. We'll talk to a couple of draft analysts, as I'm sure you've come to expect. Beyond that, I think we have a couple of strippers coming by.
And there's nobody else in the business of any kind of radio doing what you're doing.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good Monday morning. I'm forecasting mostly sunny skies today in the low 80s. We'll have the winds swinging from the east to the south at around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Water temperature in the Gulf of Mexico is 74. Partly cloudy, around 68 tonight with light south winds. Mostly sunny Tuesday and Wednesday, about 80 to 85, and light south breeze is expected each day. Thursday, mostly sunny, 80 to 85. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
At Slim Chickens, craft means something. Craft means bacon. And oh, so crispy. Craft means a good cayenne kick. And all-natural buttermilk marinated, made fresh, perfectly fried chicken. All served on toasted brioche buns. At Slim Chickens, craft means quality. And for a limited time, try our new Memphis-style barbecue chicken sandwich. Try Slim's Craft sandwiches today. Slim Chickens.
You think of your favorite shows. They're local. Folks in your neighborhood. Yeah, that's right. They're right there with you. Reporting on your weather, driving on your streets and roads, experiencing what your community experiences. They are literally your lifeline to all that matters to you. They bring you sports, your sports, the games as they happen. Your local broadcaster is there on the radio, just for you. We are broadcasters.
From the Vortex Springs to the Bear Paw Canoe Trail. From Shell Island to 30A. We're your home for live sports. Now back to the Coach James Hale Show inside the J. Michael Studio. ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. The Georgia Bulldogs, are they the greatest defense we've ever seen in college football history? Georgia's football team is the best college football team we've ever seen. They broke Ohio State's record of 14 players back in 2004, and LSU had 14 players selected back in 2020. Georgia breaks all records, 15 players drafted off one football team. But let's look into it. And we got a great caller on the phone, by the way. Georgia's schedule was not as difficult as some other teams in the country, but they play in the SEC. And we're talking about these other great defenses. We talked about Florida State. Their competition, to be honest with it, they were in the ACC. So week in, week out, they didn't face the toughest competition. Miami, when they had that defense, was supposed to be unbelievable. I believe that was in the Big East when they were in the Big East, which used to be called the Big Easy. Georgia got it done in the SEC. They had to play Alabama twice. Maybe they did. Maybe they did. Maybe that was the best defense ever. What do you guys think? You there?
In my opinion,
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that. Go ahead.
No, I want to know what you think. Go ahead.
I think that Georgia's team altogether was one of the best teams that played. Now, most dominant team was probably that LSU team. That LSU team that year, they went undefeated. They were bad. They were seriously. I mean, they had so much talent, and a lot of their talent went higher end than our talent did on Sunday and on Saturday. We were low. Samir White went in the 5th, 6th round. We had a lot of James Cook went low. So our defense was solid. But the thing about it, SEC, you got to win. It don't matter how you win or who you beat. On every Saturday, you got to win. I don't care if you're facing Vanderbilt, and y'all's side, who's y'all's weakest opponent on the West? You got to beat them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you play. In the SEC, you're going to get a good game out of every team.
That's true, especially if you're in the top ranking. You're going to get their best game. It doesn't matter what the other team's record is. You're getting their best game for the season.
There's no doubt. You can make yourself famous in one game. There's no doubt about that, Chad.
Everybody hates Georgia.
I tell you what, we got to give Kirby a lot of credit. And I said this, I said at the beginning of the year, there's one guy, they always talk about Dabo and some of these other coaches that can break all these records. Nick Saban's starting.
I'm with you.
Kirby Smart can do it.
I'm absolutely with you.
Yeah, he's young.
He's a great guy.
Recruits like nobody else.
And has a good rapport with the players.
Yeah,
absolutely.
This is him, man. Kirby built that program.
Yeah, look at Saban's first high school recruiting class that he actually brought to Alabama. So now that this class that just got drafted was Kirby's first full year on the job, because this is his 5th year. So this was his first real class, because he split some Mark Rick's class people there in that first year. You know, a lot of people didn't want to play. We had people skipping bowl games and stuff, but now you look at it now, this is his real first true class. National champions and 15 players drafted in the NFL. So in Kirby we trust. We will not on up there.
All right. You mentioned LSU.
He's gonna get the best. You know, he's gonna get the best NIL deal at the University of Georgia. You know that, right?
He deserves it.
He deserves it.
He deserves it. No
That's
doubt
right.
about that. All right. You mentioned the 2020 LSU team might have been the great. I saw that team in person. I was in Tuscaloosa when our quarterback is running to score and just completely fumbles the ball. Nobody touched him. He was coming off that surgery. Yeah. Fumbles the ball. That was a difference in the ball game, truly. That was a great – we couldn't stop him. We could not stop them.
That's all part of the game, though.
Yeah, it is. That's part of the game.
Yeah, we couldn't stop them. They couldn't stop us. All right, but let's talk about Alabama 2021. They beat 11 SEC teams. They played every SEC. They beat 11 SEC teams. They had to beat Notre Dame in round 1, and they had to beat Ohio State for the national championship. You got to give that team some love, too.
Dominant.
Yeah.
Dominant. Everything both teams, both programs are there to stay. Just think about this. Saban's got how many titles now?
7 total.
Okay, so look, if you take a couple of those Clemson losses, or the loss to Clemson, where the game could have went either way, those teams from Clemson were not that. They were talented, but I thought that Alabama's team was way better than them, and it just happened to be the bad turn of the ball game. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's when Clemson was actually looking like they could deserve to be in the SEC. You have to earn that right to be in. Remember, we invited Florida State, and they're like, no, we don't want none of that, and you shouldn't. I'm surprised it takes Oklahoma. They could change their entire program. They come over here, they can start getting their butts kicked by, like, Missouri. Look at Missouri. They came in and beat Georgia. We would always lose the dumbest game every year. Like y'all say, Georgia's always going to lose something. So we would lose just stupid games we shouldn't have lost, and we could have been in a couple more title games, even with Mark Rick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I remember the Alabama-Georgia game where Mark Rick ends up on, like, the 2-yard line at the end of the game.
The clock ran out. That was a national championship game right there.
Yeah.
That was a championship game because they would have killed Notre Dame also.
They'd have blown Notre Dame out of the water.
Yeah.
Well, the year we got shafted that year when we were in the BCS, and but all teams had one loss. And we had one loss. That was Matt Stafford's year. We went down and played at Hawaii. They sent us to play Hawaii. And we just
Sugar Bowl.
Smoked them. They were done in the first half. And we had so many players that are on that team that were like perennial all-pro. There was a lot of good players on that Georgia team right there.
Well, you go back, and we watched the games all year long, and I thought the whole year Georgia was the best team in the country.
Oh, yeah. I thought that. Yeah.
Running the ball.
Every week. Yeah.
Yeah. But whatever they did, they played to their strengths. Yeah, they played to their strengths, which is what a smart coach does, to play defense, don't turn it over, be physical on both sides of the ball. And they were. The speed of that defense was incredible. Hey, let me ask the big boy, Jordan.
There's so many.
I wanted to ask what you think about him. I watched film on him, and you can't run the ball against him. You're wasting time when you try to run up in the middle with him in there. But as far as a pass rusher, how do you think he's going to do in the NFL? I think he's going to have to lose some weight to be in there on third downs.
But the thing about it is, if the pros are so smart, they're going to make – that man is massive. So if you just take a little bit of his baby fat off in the pros and turn him into the man he can be, you know how they do in college. They'll take somebody that – sometimes my son played football, and we would go to these camps, and it's a great player, one of the best – good football player. 2-time All-County here in Bay County. You would play, and then they're looking for that person, the size, the hand size, the foot size. So they're going to make a guy Jordan Davis made a lot of those other players better.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
he took on two people every time on defense.
Yeah.
So you have two offensive linemen having to block him. Or a tight end. You get double teamed, that takes up two people. That's 9 against 10. Somebody's going to look good. So if you do what you're supposed to do.
Just think about the linebackers, how easy their job was. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
nobody could get up on them.
Exactly.
They could just run the ball and make plays, and they did. Their linebackers were incredible.
The guy that went to Miami, Tandle, he is not as good as a leader as Kobe Dean was, but he is lightning quick fast. And he is going to – Miami got a steal right there. I'm telling you, that boy right there is fast and covers the field. 41. He was number 41 for us.
Talk about the number one pick. Talk about the number one pick, Walker. What'd you think?
Well, he was another thing. Devontae Wyatt, Jordan Davis, and then Trayvon Walker. Somebody's going to get double teamed in every scheme. You have to. One of those guys is going to get you. It's going to happen. And then if you add in, we had a bad luck situation. Just add in Adam Anderson, who busted for rape, retard, and then you got him, and then you got Nolan Smith. You got 5 guys. Nolan Smith's still there. So you take those 5 guys and you go after the quarterback and the run game. Potentially we could have had 7 if Nolan Smith would have came out and Adam Anderson didn't get in trouble. But that's another. We would have been even more dominant with those guys coming. So
they're unbelievable.
Next year we're going to be solid too. Don't sleep on the Georgia Bulldogs next year.
That's what I was going to ask you. They've lost a lot off the defense side of the ball. And there's still questions. The quarterback wins the national championship, and people still got questions about him. But I'm with you. The way Kirby recruits, we just don't know the names yet. They're not going away. They're going to be just as good. I won't say they're going to be just as good, but they're going to be really good next year.
They're going to be solid. I remember Alabama had a year where they lost all their players, and everybody thought, the era is over. And then y'all ended up going like 11-1 and still making it to one of the top ball games, and it still made Saban sick. So, I mean, that's the thing with Saban and Kirby. They're got a different mentality than most of your coaches out there. They are bred to win. I don't know where they get it from or how they get it, but if they don't win, their life is terrible, and everybody else is around it is too. So
they're workaholics. They are.
I'm telling you that Georgia and Alabama ain't going nowhere. I think we might lose a game, like you say, one of those average games we shouldn't lose. Maybe. It just depends on how these players fall into the concept that just happened and realize, hey, we can do this too. We got plenty of enough talent still coming back, especially on offense. Our defense is still going to be fast. We still got Jalen Carter. Still got Nolan Smith. We still got Robert Beal. We still got 3 people coming back in the secondary. We're not going to be hurt too bad.
No.
So
and all the backups played a lot. I mean, you played a lot of guys last year. Hey, let me ask you this. Do you live on the beach or in town?
I live out. We live out near Bozeman.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, if you come by, we'll give you a gift card. We'll give you a room.
No, I'm good.
You sure?
Give it to someone that needs it. I appreciate it, though.
Okay.
We enjoy just listening to your show.
All right, buddy. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you and really appreciate you calling in. And call back. We got a break coming up. Thank you, sir.
Georgia Bulldog update every day.
All right. Go dogs.
Go dogs.
I tell you what, he's got a lot to be proud of. They something
Absolutely.
special. All right. Again, if you haven't heard, they broke the record. Georgia had 15 players taken in the NFL draft, a national NCAA record. Unbelievable. And he's right. You got to give him credit. That defense, it might have been the best defense in college football history. It's hard to judge, but if it wasn't,
and
they're
there's
up there.
always different circumstances. But the fact is, they had a great defense. Great.
5 first-round picks, and then they had a kid at Florida State was on that program, was in there from Georgia also. Unbelievable. All right, let's talk about some of our great people. Paparazzi Gourmet Deli. If you love pizza, there's only one place to go. That is Paparazzi Gourmet Deli. 3 restaurants in one. They got a bakery, they got a deli, and they got the best pizza you ever had. Max Fit Sports Nutrition. You want to look better, feel better? Go see Jason Kovaleski. We'll be right back. Alabama, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Love it. It's my favorite. My favorite.
Talking tough, trash, in your face. They get right up next to each other, right to nose to nose. Now you got my attention. It's a spectacle. I get it. What did we learn about some of these teams and players, and who are you all in on? We will be broadcasting from the Man Cave in New York City, Major League Baseball, and the world of sports. Plus a few surprises that you've come to expect. That's coming up right here.
9 to 11 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Here at Tracy's Fine Jewelry, we want to help you celebrate Mom this month. From mother's rings with her children's birthstones to unique one-of-a-kind pieces just like her. This month is meant to celebrate Mom. From our large selection of beautiful stackable bands to simple, elegant diamond necklaces that will bring a sparkle to her eye. This Mother's Day, show Mom how much you love her with a beautiful piece of jewelry that's as unique as she is. From Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
In 22, the thing to do is reboot the whole family at That Boot Store. With name brand Western wear for the smallest to the largest Wrangler is available at That Boot Store. Need durable name brand Carhartt work clothes at a price you can afford? Stop by That Boot Store. Next to Billboard Kia on 15th Street. Open Tuesday through Thursday 9 to 5, Friday and Saturday 9 to 5:30. Remember Joe's motto, always keep Jesus in your new year.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, powered by Pepsi. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Chuck was terrible at fishing. He spent many frustrating hours attempting to get results he saw from internet videos, aggravating trial and error fishing trips, and misguided advice from well-intended friends. Chuck is happy now with his newfound success after he visited Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, where we keep fishing fun, simple, and successful. See us soon at Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, located directly off Highway 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach.
Put down your natural light. It's time for the Alabama Update. The Alabama Update, weekday mornings at 8. On the Coach James Hale Show at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Roll, Tide, roll. Roll on down to Stevenson Air Conditioning. Get yourself a brand new air conditioning heating unit. All it's going to do is pay for itself. Chad, the money I've saved in my electricity bill, having that one that came with the house, that I just, I don't like spending that money. Hey, it was still running. Matter of fact, it ran all the time. That's the reason my electricity bill was so high. Stevens coming in there, and I had them do everything. They took on the wires. They went to the walls. They did it all. Yeah. When they left, the house looked beautiful. Matter of fact, it looked better before they got there. They did a wonderful job.
And the new units are much more efficient than the older units. Absolutely.
I think last month we paid $120. It was unbelievable. I'm serious. They do a great job. It runs quietly. The house gets cold quickly and stays that way. It stays warm. Stevenson Air Conditioning, nobody does a better job than Stevenson Air Conditioning. Jason, those guys do a great job. And if you got a problem anytime, day or night, give them a call. They'll get out there as soon as possible, and they'll solve all your problems. Stevenson Air Conditioning, #1. Alabama. I don't know. Let's get into this thing right here. Alabama Crimson Tide breaks an NFL draft record set by the legendary 2001 Miami Dolphins. I mean Hurricanes. Hey, before we get into this, I love that last caller we had. This is what I like to see. Give me LSU 2020 offense. Give me Georgia's 2021 defense.
You got a team. You got a sure enough team. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Was that 2019 with LSU? It was 19.
Yeah, it was 19.
I think. Yeah. I think because Alabama won it in 20.
Yeah.
And Georgia's won 21.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you give me Georgia's defense, give me LSU's offense, and let me have Nick Saban coach that team.
Or, and I guess this is the Alabama fan in me, so maybe I'm a little biased, but you could take the 2020 Alabama offense,
which is pretty
right, and combine it with the Georgia defense, and I think you'd have the same result.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, Najee Harris.
Yeah.
The Heisman Trophy. Oh my God.
Yeah.
They had receivers everywhere.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's not a bad idea, Chad. And that offensive line was pretty doggone good that year too.
Exactly. The offensive line was good.
I might be with you on that.
Right, but listen, was LSU's offense just phenomenal in 2019. Absolutely. I'm not an LSU fan, but I sure watched every game that season when I saw what Joe Burrow was doing.
I think you turn. I think I would take that one.
It's kind of neck and neck. Although the LSU fans, I'm sure, would argue.
Guys, that little run back LSU had,
they
Joe
were
fantastic. I don't know. LSU was
LSU,
something special now.
I know. With Joe,
I'll take it. I'll be honest. I would take LSU. I'm gonna take LSU's offense.
But I'm just making a point. Yeah. Usually these top teams, they either the offense or the defense is really good, and if you could combine them with the some other teams.
But we're talking about LSU, Georgia, how great those teams were. But Alabama had to play like nobody will ever have to do it again unless we have another China virus. They had to play an all-SEC schedule. They played 11 SEC teams and beat them. They didn't have a close game except against Florida.
Yeah.
And then they beat Notre Dame, killed them in the playoffs, and then destroyed Ohio State for the national championship. That was a great football team.
It was. And
they don't get the love of LSU and Georgia.
I think the reason they don't get the love is because of the pandemic and just the things that were going on with that. But still, you're right. You had to play an all-SEC schedule. We don't do that. We didn't do that this last year. It was a good thing. An all SEC schedule and go undefeated doing that. I mean, that is a task.
Yeah,
that's a big task.
That's something it's never happened before and probably never happened.
Although
again.
I will say this, I think the 2019 LSU team could have done it. I really believe they could have done it.
Yeah.
They didn't have to do it.
Georgia's national championship last year, they would have had a shot at it.
Yeah.
They would have struggled with Alabama's offense. I think I don't know, that would have been a good game.
Yeah.
That would have been a pretty good one. Well, heck, we saw it. What are we talking about? We saw it, and Alabama took care. Anyway, no, they didn't. They played Florida in the SEC championship. Anyway, Alabama did on the second day of the draft. Their big defensive lineman Mathis was drafted second round, 47th pick, and because of that, that gave Alabama 39 players. This is college football history. 39 players off the 2017 team were drafted, and they were tied with Miami's great team of 2000. I think it was 2001. Yeah, 2001. They had 38. Can you imagine 39 players going into the NFL off that team? All right, let's take this call. Good morning.
Good morning, Coach. How are y'all this morning?
We are doing great. How you doing, big guy?
I'm good. I just wanted to add one of the things that I didn't think that y'all were giving enough credit to some of the coaches that these great teams have. You might have all the talent in the world, but if you're not a good coach and can put the guys in the right spot, it ain't going to really matter to you.
Absolutely.
And it may not be the head coach that's doing it for them.
It may
be the who's calling the plays with what he's got. He knows how to set up his players, and I think that one of the reasons in the playoffs and in the bowl games, when you have 6 weeks to prep for somebody, then all of a sudden, you play them in that first game, and then you don't have as much time to prep and get guys ready to play 11 days later. So it's more of a chess match, but even, the great years that when you had Florida State had their great defenses, I think Mickey Andrews, he got a lot of the credit, but really people just really did not realize how good of a defensive coach or coordinator he really was, and it goes to the same when Alabama won and you had Lane Kiffin there. Lane was calling plays and took less talented quarterbacks, less talented players, and got them in the right spot.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of truth there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, remember the year when Danny Warfel won the national championship? He got beat to pieces in Tallahassee, and that was the number 1 and number 2 team. But Mickey Andrews figured if you get him off of his spot, because they were throwing everything they were doing was all timing patterns.
Right.
I watched them warm up that day, and Danny was just throwing you could have put a pie plate down there on the field, and that's what he was doing. He was getting to a spot and throwing it.
Yeah.
So the receivers never, it's tough to cover somebody when the ball's in the air before he even makes the break.
Right.
But
and you're right.
In Miami, and a lot of them are that way.
You got to give Spurrier credit. He
You're right.
He worked the officials the entire month when they found out they were going to play Florida State again, and then he went to shotgun.
His whole offense.
Yeah,
he went into shotgun.
Yeah,
right.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, you're right. And I got to give Stark a lot of credit, too, when Bama had that great football team. Sarkisian did a great job calling the play. You're right about that. Yeah.
I'll give it to Saban. Saban gets them the talent, but if you don't have the right guy that's there, molding that clay, then it don't matter what kind of talent you got.
You knocked it out of the ballpark like you usually do.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one.
You have a good day.
Rob.
Thank you for calling, Rob.
All right, bye.
All right, first round picks by conference. Anyway, again, congratulations to Alabama for setting another record. But I will say this. It's the least amount of players drafted in a long time. Since 2016, we only had 6 guys drafted, I believe. What's up with that, Chad? We keep talking about great recruiting. It didn't work out like it usually does. Of course, this was a young football team. We got a lot of people coming back.
Yeah, and every year we hear about Saban having conversations with his players and, telling them maybe they should wait another year, and they don't listen, and then they end up lower in the draft. And then you have, other players like I think it was Moses that didn't get drafted last year. That probably should have been drafted, but because of injuries and question marks, they decided to, bring him in as a free agent, instead of, drafting him and taking a chance on him. So there's a little bit of that going on as well.
I'm gonna hold off tomorrow on this, talk about the fewest draft picks Alabama's had. I'm going to get into that a little bit tomorrow. We don't have enough time right now. I do want to say that first round picks by conference, SEC. This is in the first round. Alabama had 12. I mean, not Alabama. SEC had 12. Unbelievable. The next one close to them was the Big Ten. I always say the best 2 conferences are the SEC and the Big Ten, and they had 7. ACC was 4. Pac-12 4. The American Conference had 2. FCS had 2 and 1 independent, and I left out 1. But, again, SEC dominated the draft. I think it was 64, 65 players from the SEC. I'll get into that a little bit later. But when we get back, we're going to talk about the Auburn Tigers, what they did. And you and I both were talked about. We were shocked that Smoke Monday did not get drafted. That blew my mind.
That blows my mind.
Yeah, he found a home. We'll talk about that when we get back. All right, you listen to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Hey, if you want a great place to eat today, you love barbecue, Rudy's Barbecue on Baton Beach Road. There's nothing better than that. 350-seat facility is incredible. Great staff. I tell you what, they were packed out this weekend. And Ethan Boyd does a wonderful job. But, Chad, if you go out there, try the turkey sandwich. It's the best I've ever had. They got great food, great atmosphere. That's Rudy's Barbecue. Lorelei calls it Rudy Tooties. Rudy's Barbecue on Back Beach Road. We'll be right back with the Auburn Tigers, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida and staff meteorologist Tim Root for up-to-the-minute weather reports all day long.
Moving northwestward into the Gulf of Mexico by the weekend.
In-depth storm coverage.
Gusty winds up to 60 miles per hour.
And breaking weather as it happens.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Good Monday morning. I'm forecasting mostly sunny skies today. Temperatures in the low 80s as high pressure builds in. A south wind about 10 to 15. Water temperature in the Gulf is 74. Partly cloudy overnight around 68. And Tuesday and Wednesday should be mostly sunny in the low 80s and light south winds expected. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, best little lumber yard in Panama City and Youngstown. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Have you been to Gin Gin Super King Buffet? It's not your average Gin Gin. Well, here's what you're missing. Gin Gin Super King Buffet has competitive pricing, a great selection, extensive buffet options perfect for family dining. Menu options also include top quality seafood, hibachi and sushi bar, or select their mouth-watering crab legs by order. Bring the family out to Gin Gin Super King Buffet, located next to Wonderworks at 9802 Front Beach Road on Panama City Beach.
Golf Plus is your premier golf shop on the Gulf Coast. Not a big box or a chain store, but a local store with golf experts to serve you. An amazing array of demo and fitting products, plus a professional repair shop that can handle anything from a basic re-grip to a full set of re-shafts and everything in between. Golf Plus has locations in Dothan and Panama City Beach to serve you. Come see them today for all your golf needs. Located next to Firefly at the shops at Edgewater. Call 850-249-2726.
Tiger fans, join us weekday mornings at 8:15. It's the Bay Point Golf Auburn Update on the Coach James Hale Show at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
War Eagle. Hey, Martha, Kenny, James Gualamar, they all love the Auburn Tigers like we have a lot. I'm talking a lot of Auburn fans in Northwest Florida, and we support the Auburn Tigers. Andy Burcham tomorrow, 8:15, will have all you need to know about Auburn baseball and everything else that's going on. Disappointment, I would say, if you're an Auburn Tiger fan, and I know some of their players were disappointed. They, Smoke Monday had a grade that he would be drafted, and he shocked me he wasn't. But let's get into who was, Chad. Auburn's first player and only player drafted, Roger McCreary, drafted in the second round by the Tennessee Titans.
Great player.
Oh, my God. He's incredible.
I love watching him play.
Made All-American. It was his dream to play in the NFL. He made it happen. He dreamed about becoming an All-American. He made it. 35th pick, I think he was the 35th overall pick, again taken by the Tennessee Titans. Auburn's first player picked, only as it turned out, only player picked. He was the fifth best corner. Well, if you go by who they picked, the fifth corner taken in the draft, cornerback. Third from the SEC. He's from Mobile, Alabama, where Brian is from. Brian was probably one of the best athletes to ever come out of Mobile. And went to Mississippi State. I still don't get that.
There's a lot of good athletes that come out of Mobile.
Unbelievable. That's one of the best places in the country you can go recruit in the city, the Mobile and surrounding area. But Chad, about him, he was, again, from Mobile. He played 4 years at Auburn. He was only a 3-star coming out of college, coming out of high school, 3-star. So he didn't get the hype like some of these other players. All he did is turn that 3-star into an All-American. That's
right.
Pretty incredible.
And that's what matters.
Yes, sir, baby. He did a great job. He finished at Auburn with 135 tackles. He had 10 tackles for loss. He had 6 interceptions. He had 35 pass breakups. If you know what that is, he breaks the ball, breaks the receiver, knocks them down where they don't catch the ball, or he knocks the ball down. That's pretty incredible right there. 35 is a really good stat. He was once, listen to this, he was once rated the 989th overall high school player, which is not very good. That's, matter of fact, that's bad. But you mean to tell me these recruiting sites? So they went and watched every single player, all these games, and they can come up with the best 1,000 players. I don't get it. It's just.
Well, we know how there's some politics involved in that.
No doubt about it.
Which high school did you play for, and how good was that team, and that kind of thing. But I mean, it shows you can't overlook these 3-stars. I mean, Josh Jacobs was a good example for Alabama, and Roger McCreary, what a player. I mean, I watched him past couple of years, going to games with Ada and watching it on television. My wife's a big Auburn fan, and just watching his awareness and his ability to get there.
He got there with some power.
And you're mentioning these pass breakups. I can see him in my mind right now doing that very thing. Breaking up passes, being in the right place, reading the offense, knowing his keys. This is a great player.
What I love about this, he was now we talk about this recruiting deal. They had him rated like 989 in the entire country of all those guys coming out. He was the third lowest rated signee in Auburn's 2018 class. The third lowest in all the whole class.
So I think it begs the question: who was the coach that
They
saw
need to,
this guy.
They need to give him a raise.
And
They give him a
recruited him.
He's probably on Central Florida Gus. I don't know.
He probably is.
Yeah,
He's
but
probably down there with Gus.
Yeah, get him back to Auburn. And who coached him up? But anyway, that's incredible. I love this story because
it's
he
a great
worked his
story.
tail off, man.
Absolutely, he did.
He overachieved. He did it. Well, I wouldn't say overachieved. He got the best of what he could do. I mean, the guy really did some great things at Auburn. He played as a freshman back in 2018 in 7 games as a true freshman. Mm-hmm. And you're talking about a 3-star, one of the lowest rated players in the country.
And played as a
got
freshman.
on the field.
Yeah.
A sophomore year, he played in all 13 games. And then the last 2 years, he started for the Auburn Tigers. He earned all first team, All-American. He is the 6th DB to be drafted out of Auburn in the last 5 years. Auburn has turned out some really good defensive ball players, especially in the secondary, so they got to give him credit there. Also, another guy that was drafted that came from Auburn and was signed by Auburn that he didn't stay, the quarterback Willis, Malik Willis, went to Liberty, transferred out when he saw he wasn't going to play, and he got drafted in the 3rd round. So you got, Auburn found him, so you could kind of give a little love to Auburn for that. And then that was it, man. Now, they've had some guys do free agency. Now, let's get into the guy that we both thought would get drafted, and I was really surprised he didn't. Auburn Smoke Monday, I think he was a really good football player. Really good football. Always liked him. I thought he did a great job his entire time at Auburn.
I like his attitude, the upbeat energy that he has, and let me tell you, he has great awareness on the field, if you ask me. I mean, I've watched him so much. One of my favorite Auburn players in the last few years, and just to see his awareness as a defensive back there, I think he's a safety, right? That's what they've got him.
Right.
But he moves all over the field. But just to watch the energy and the level of excitement, and the level of awareness, knows what the offense is doing. This is a guy that I thought he'd have been at least in the 3rd round for me. I mean, that's the way I look at it. He's got talent. He should earn a spot with the Saints,
that's right.
Signed him as a free agent. He should earn a spot with them. That would be my prediction, unless something horribly goes wrong. But
what he did at Auburn, he had 63 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 1 interception, 5 pass breakups. That's all last year. That's pretty good. Now, it's not good. 63 tackles by a safety. You like to see your linebackers have a lot of tackles.
But what they're not saying is that the ball didn't get thrown over his direction.
9 tackles for loss is pretty good, too.
I know, but okay, so they had would you say 5 breakups?
5 pass breakups.
Yeah,
last year.
Listen, because he was shutting shutting who he was covering down. Yeah. And I saw it a lot last year. So
them two together, they were good. They were dang good. Now I got to give them credit. All right, now as a total, when he was at Auburn, he had 171 tackles. That's pretty good now. 5 interceptions. He played 4 seasons, 2 years as a starter. Really good football player. I'm with you 100%. I thought he would. I didn't know how late, but I thought at least get drafted by somebody. So maybe, what do you think the chances are of him going in there? Because it's really, you don't see many of these free agents make it. You think he's got a shot?
I mean, he's getting his shot. What he does with it is up to him. But, I think he's a very talented individual. I think he's got a great attitude. I certainly hope he makes it. I'd like to see him play for the Saints.
I would too. Now, McClain, that's another one we kept talking a lot about this year, another really fine football player for Auburn. He signed with the Ravens, undrafted free agent. He led Auburn in tackles each of the last 2 years. He played in 49 games when he was at Auburn, 49, a really good football player. 21 starts, 4 years. He had total tackles, 268.
Yeah, this is a good football player.
Really good football
player. The Ravens, they're getting a discount.
I agree.
On that. I feel like the Saints are getting getting Smoke Monday that way. I think the Ravens, the same thing here with McClain. McClain's a very good player. I think, in some of this, it was kind of Auburn's season and the issues that are going on and the fact that they weren't winning some of the games that people were hoping they would win. I think it's kind of hurt these guys. Winners, everybody likes to watch the winners, right?
Yep.
But these are 2 quality players that I personally think both of these guys are going to make it. Will they be starters? This season, it's hard to say that, but they may. They're that caliber.
You got to go back and look how they tested out. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't keep up with it. I'm wondering now. Mason want to go back and see what his times in the 40. Both these guys, Smoke Monday and McLean, see how they did in the 40s. Their shuttle run, their broad, all those things they tested on. I need to go back and look at that because I'm kind of surprised.
I know, and I get that those things matter, but you can have a bad day doing that as you can have a bad day any other time. But these two football players have great awareness on the field, and that's a lot of the game as well. I mean, a lot of the game is mental. A lot of the game is being in the right place at the right time, knowing what the offense is doing. These two guys, they have those qualities for sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, 268 tackles is pretty good. 19 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks, 1 interception. He had 8 pass breakups. And they've been some more since then, but that's all I got on Auburn for you for today. We'll have a little bit more tomorrow. And we'll ask Andy Bertram what he thinks about these guys going free agencies, not being drafted, and who next year is going to be on the board for Auburn to go to the NFL. I'm not sure, but we will find out. I do know one guy. They got a running back declares. I think Bigsby will go pretty high if he stays healthy.
Yeah, hopefully he has a good year. It depends on their line too. That's the other issue.
There was one. I'm gonna hold off on that. I'll talk about that later. But anyway, I appreciate Auburn Update's been brought to you by Bay Point Golf. You love golf. There's only one place to go. That is Bay Point. Another great thing Mr. Warren and Ryan Mulvey are doing down there. Now Thursday nights they're opened up to serve you food. On Friday and Saturday. You don't want to go fight in the traffic. You don't want to head to Pier Park and get in all that mess. You don't want to wait for your favorite restaurants. Drive in over to Bay Point. You can play golf. You can stay there and eat dinner. They're going to have music. They've had it before. They had live singing. The guy did a great job. They've got TVs everywhere. You can sit outdoors under the porch there with fans blowing. You can sit inside and air conditioned. TVs everywhere, bar, friendly people, great food, great atmosphere. That's all something new. That's not happened before. And, when the sun goes down, you don't have a place to go in Bay Point. Now you do. You absolutely love it. Get out to Bay Point and thank Ryan Moby for all the great things that they do at Bay Point. Chad, let's talk about you. What is the best way to get up with the legendary Dr. Chad Mitchell? If I fall down, hurt my knee, my shoulder, what do I need to do? I just hurt my ankle. What are you going to do? What do I got to do? What do I got to do to get you to do it?
Well, for you, I might do things a little different than everybody else. Nah, I'm teasing.
That's what she said.
If you want to get a hold of me, call Southern Orthopedic Specialists at 850-785-4344, or you can look me up at www.chadmitchellmd.com.
And if you want to feel better and look better, you got a son or daughter that plays sports. You want to get that edge. All you got to do, and especially if you're a coach around here, go visit Jason Kowaleski at Mac Fit Sports Nutrition. He does give discounts to certain teams, certain schools if you go in and visit with him. Guy knows everything, man. What you need to take to get bigger, stronger, faster. Meals, they got supplements, they got it all down at Max Fit Sports Nutrition at Pier Park. Don't forget about skin cancer. 1 in 5 develop skin cancer. If it doesn't look right, feel right. If you're listening right now in Northwest Florida, Dr. Ward. And you can hear him every Wednesday at 7:30 right here on 104.3.
And may I say, he did an excellent job.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
he's sharp now.
You had something done to your face. And
it's beautiful.
It's
doubt.
gone. I mean, it's gone. My wife has a similar thing.
Just as ugly as ever.
Thank you, Chad.
Hey, the jealousy is unbelievable. But he's right. It looked terrible. It was like, oh God, it looks bad. Now it's back to looking just, I don't know. They say I look a lot like Elvis, the younger Elvis. I'm not sure. But anyway, speaking of Elvis, his movie's coming out pretty soon. Can't wait for that. All right, we'll be right back. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd.
Kyler Murray, Cardinals going to pick up his fifth-year option, and they're working on a deal. My rule is just pay the stars. Pay the stars. Everything else will figure itself out. Listen, the easiest way to explain why Arizona needs Kyler Murray is about 3,000 miles away from Kyler Murray. Bill Belichick, since Tom Brady left, is a 500 coach.
This is The Herd.
Weekdays 11 to 2, ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Here at Tracy's Fine Jewelry, we want to help you celebrate Mom this month. From mother's rings with her children's birthstones to unique one-of-a-kind pieces just like her. This month is meant to celebrate Mom. From our large selection of beautiful stackable bands to simple, elegant diamond necklaces that will bring a sparkle to her eye. This Mother's Day, show Mom how much you love her with a beautiful piece of jewelry that's as unique as she is. From Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
Let your spring adventure begin at Bill Byrne Kia. Stop by today to discover why everyone is talking about the award-winning Kia. Now offering 1.9% APR up to 48 months on the purchase of a 2022 Kia Forte, K5, Soul, or Sorrento. Bill Byrne Kia is not only the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty, they're the home of the best customer experience anywhere. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillByrdKia.com. We make buying a car easy, and you'll enjoy the way we do business.
Offer from KMF for the purchase of a new 2022 Forte, K5, Soul, and Sorrento with $21.65 per month per 1,000 financed. That's 48 months. Quantities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Byrne Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 5/2/22.
With a new face at first and some of the best arms in the National League, this 2022 Braves team is loaded up for another run at the crown.
Swung on, lifted high and deep to right field, headed for the chop house, heads up out there, gone, home run!
Tonight, the battle for the NL East gets an early test on the road in New York as the Braves roll into Citi Field to take on the New York Mets.
Coverage starts at 6, first pitch 6:10 on 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Now you can interact with the Coach James Hale Show live in the J. Michaels Studios. Download the new 104.3 ESPN app at the Apple Store and Google Play. Now back to the Coach James Hale Show, powered by Pepsi. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Every Monday, Dr. Chad Mitchell, legendary doctor here in Bay County. If you have any type of injury, I mean, he didn't take care of the great athletes. He takes care of everybody. Go by and see him at Southern Orthopedics. Call, make an appointment. They do an incredible job. Chad, I do want to get this in here. It does pay to work for Nick Saban. Maryland signs Mike Locksley a 5-year extension through 2026, but he had it scheduled out pretty nicely. He just earned, it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe this. Alabama's offensive coordinator, Sarkisian, almost made this much. Last year, he made $2.7 million as a head football coach, the lowest paid head football coach in the Big Ten. $2.7 million, that's not very good at all. And again, the lowest paid coach in the Big Ten. Well, he's going to get a nice little raise. He's in 2022, he'll make $4 million a year.
Good for him.
He will get an additional $100,000 every year after that. Maryland was 7-6. They played in the Pinstripe Bowl. This is what I like about this deal. If he wins 7 or more games, he gets a year extension. Then the following year, if he wins 7 or more games, he'll get a 2-year extension. So say he has that's 3 more years. That goes to 2029, guaranteed $4 million, and it goes up $100,000 a year.
Yeah, if you win.
Yeah, so I mean that you want that long-term contract to give you some little bit of
7 games out of.
That's what I said.
They play 12, and they're in a big. That's a big that conference is second to only conference better than them.
So here's the
SEC.
knock. I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. Here's the knock. It's Maryland.
And
they don't care about football as much as they do other things.
Right.
And so they got a 7-game thing. They probably ought to put an 8-game win in that contract.
No.
Well, no. Then he would probably up what he gets if he wins 8. But
Big Ten football is hard to win.
I
You're at Maryland, it's hard to win. Look at Nebraska. Look at Nebraska in the Big Ten. They can't done anything.
I get that, but I don't know. In my mind, you should be shooting for the national championships, not the 7-6 record.
Well, let me ask you guys
let's not
this:
shoot
if
for
you're the coach of Vandy and
true.
you win 7 games, you're the coach.
You're doing
of the year.
really well. Yeah, I
That's
get
the same thing for him. We
I
don't
get
give the
that.
Big Ten enough respect.
And we probably don't give these coaches at these other teams like this enough respect as well, because like you said, it is a challenge. It's this is probably kudos to the University of Maryland for recognizing that it's a challenge.
Yeah. Well, think about it. You talk about Maryland. Do they have players like Penn State? Do they have players like Wisconsin, Ohio State, Michigan? They don't have players like Minnesota. I mean, the Big Ten is good. Iowa. I mean, Michigan State. We really and truly in the Southeastern Conference, I think we look down on them. They're good. I mean, I study football. That's a big physical league. They've got good football players. They made a commitment. They want to be like the SEC. They want to be better than the SEC, and they go out and hire guys. Urban Meyer goes up there and builds an SEC team, and what's he do? He wins a national championship. Big Ten's good. So if he can win 7 games there a year, they're going to be happy. It's kind of like being at Kentucky. If you can win 8 games at Kentucky, you can stay there forever. You win 8 games at Auburn, they're going to fire you. You got to win at Auburn. You got to win at LSU.
Or like Michigan. I mean, if you're
I don't know. Harbaugh. I mean, dang, man. Yeah.
Average.
I agree.
Average.
You're right.
Loss.
This Maryland job's like Michigan. Yeah, you win 7 games, you stay there forever. Michigan, he must be sleeping. He got to be sleeping. All right, Loxley is 52 years old. He was an assistant at Maryland way back in 1997 through 2002. He left, came back as the OC, went to Alabama as the offensive coordinator. Then from there, he got the head job at Maryland. So it pays to work for Nick Saban. It's crazy. Anyway, I think he does a real good job there. And who's his quarterback? He's got a brother that we used to follow at Alabama. His little boy.
Now, was this his last year? Talia?
I think it is. Now, you know what? I don't know. Maybe he got redshirt.
I'll look it up real quick because
I think they gave them all. They gave everybody 1 extra year because of COVID, and I don't think he's going to go to the NFL. So I think he does have another year. I'm pretty sure he's got another year.
Let's see if I can find it here while you're.
I like you asking questions. I don't know the answers to. Sound like Julie.
Oh man.
All right, SEC, Chad. They dominated again for 16 consecutive years. SEC #1 for the most players taken or drafted or picked to the NFL. Unbelievable. 65 players were taken. 35, listen to this, 35 of the 105 players selected in the rounds 1 through 3, all from the SEC. Out of 105, first 105, 34 from the SEC. Second place, who are we talking about? I always talk about the Big Ten. That's the reason they're second best conference in college football. They had 48 picked, 21 coming in rounds 1 through 3. So what even? It was 13 less than the SEC had. It's the SEC. I'm telling you, ACC and the Big 12 and the Pac-12, they combined. You combined all of them together, they had 71. You put the other 3 leagues together, they get 71. It's the Big Ten and the SEC run the show. That's just it. Now, the other thing that shocked me, did you ever find out the answer to that?
He's a junior, so I'm assuming he's coming back.
Yeah, he's got another year. What shocked me, the Texas Longhorns had 0 draft picks. 0. That's incredible, man.
Well, Sarkisian's got a big hill to climb. He's got to change that, and I think he's going to do his best to do that.
Yeah. But that didn't blow your mind, a program like Texas Longhorns not having guys drafted?
It doesn't blow my mind because of the seasons I've seen them have. I mean, they're just so overrated.
How can they not draft? I mean, how can they not recruit better than what they've been doing?
And they do have some good players, but just haven't been playing well.
It's crazy. That to me, that's un-American for Texas not to have guys that can play in the NFL. I mean, that's a blue blood.
Well, they're trying to change that. They're trying to be in the SEC.
Well, they're taking all Alabama.
They hired Sarkisian.
Kickoffs.
Their recruiting is so much better now.
Yeah.
So I mean, watch out. I mean, Texas could be on the rise. You know, just like Texas A&M. Look at how they recruited this last year.
And you know how we talk about these other conferences and who they play and all that kind of stuff. I got to give Cincinnati credit. I do. They had 9 guys selected. They had 9 guys selected to the NFL draft, more than Michigan, more than the mighty Crimson Tide of Alabama.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
Man, I can't believe you're saying it.
They pulled themselves out of the darkness.
They did.
I mean, they were years ago.
They were.
Yeah, we used to play them.
Good.
We'd play them when we were at Southern Mississippi. We played them every once in a while, and they would. Nobody cared about playing Memphis. I mean, Cincinnati.
I had a mentor in residency who played linebacker for Cincinnati when they played Bo Jackson. He used to talk about that. Auburn playing Cincinnati, and he was one of Cincinnati's middle linebackers. He said it was a tough game.
I don't care where you play at. You play against Bo Jackson, you had a tough game.
Yeah.
I tell you, back in the day when Pat Dye was there, we played him. He was the East Carolina head coach in my freshman year, and they beat us they ran at Wishbone, and they about to killed us. And then he goes to Auburn, and when he went to Auburn, man, I knew Auburn was going to be good. And people really know much about Pat Dye. We did because we knew about him at the head coach of East Carolina, and they were a very physical football team. Auburn was tough. I want to get back to this. The teams we talked about, Cincinnati, Michigan, Alabama, they all made the playoffs, right? All of them. Cincinnati had more NFL players on their team for us this year's draft than Alabama and Michigan. Michigan had 5 players drafted. Alabama had 7. Cincinnati had 9. The MAC conference, the Sun Belt, and Conference USA, total 6 players drafted.
Wow.
Total. Unbelievable. So conferences do matter. Competition does
matters too.
Yeah.
Ranking into the season ranking matters, it looks like as well.
Well, let's look at this ranking. Let's start off with the mighty SEC. 65 players drafted, 16 consecutive years. Who led the SEC? Was it LSU? Was it Alabama? You were looking, you're cheating. Or was it Ole Miss? Who had the number 1 most draft picks out of the SEC? We've been talking about them all day. Georgia with 15. Who was second? If you didn't look and cheat right then, were you surprised by this one? I was surprised at this. The number 2 team in the SEC.
I'm actually not surprised, but I get why you're surprised.
Yeah. I shouldn't be because they do it almost every single year.
That would be my point.
LSU.
Yeah,
LSU had more people drafted.
Georgia than LSU. Yep.
We'll come back to this. We'll finish up with this. We get back to how the SEC, who led the SEC in draft picks. J. Michael's Restaurant on Thomas Drive. You want a wonderful meal, ice cold beer, best seafood you'll get anywhere, and every Wednesday, world famous spaghetti. J. Michael Restaurant on Thomas Drive. Stevenson Air Conditioning. Love those guys doing down there. They do an incredible job. South Oak Title and Closing. Chuck Tucker's number 1. Not even close. Dr. Chad Mitchell. Every Monday we got him in here. Bay Point Golf. And don't forget about Rudy's Barbecue on Bat Beach Road. Ethan Boyd will be here tomorrow. They do an incredible job. They cater. If you got any kind of big party going on. They also have a huge room in the back where Chad takes his employees back there quite a bit and feeds all of them. So if you haven't been invited from his office, you need to ask him about that. Rudy's Barbecue on Bat Beach Road. We'll be right back. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Greeny.
I was not in favor of the Jets going out and getting Tyreek Hill. I said that here because I said they're not Tyreek Hill away from winning anything, and I did not see his skill set. I guess I didn't look closely enough at that. I'm now totally in favor of Deebo Samuel, in large part because I just love him, and I think the entire football world fell in love with him last year.
Weekday afternoons from 2 till 4, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good Monday morning. I'm forecasting mostly sunny skies today in the low 80s. We'll have the winds swinging from the east to the south at around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Water temperature in the Gulf of Mexico is 74. Partly cloudy around 68 tonight with light south winds. Mostly sunny Tuesday and Wednesday, about 80 to 85, and light south breeze is expected each day. Thursday, mostly sunny, 80 to 85. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Sykes Concrete has been in business in this area since 1947, and 3 generations later, they're still going strong. See Sykes Concrete for dirt, sand, rock, and concrete. They can handle any size job from the smallest to the largest. Sykes Concrete pays CDL truck drivers some of the highest wages in Bay County, making $50,000 to $75,000 a year, including holiday and vacation pay, plus health insurance. See Hugh Sykes at Sykes Concrete, 8030 Highway 77 on the right, just north of Southport Elementary School.
Have you been to Gin Gin Super King Buffet? It's not your average Gin Gin. Well, here's what you're missing. Gin Gin Super King Buffet has competitive pricing, a great selection, extensive buffet options perfect for family dining. Menu options also include top quality seafood, hibachi and sushi bar, or select their mouth-watering crab legs by order. Bring the family out to Gin Gin Super King Buffet, located next to Wonderworks at 9802 Front Beach Road on Panama City Beach.
The Coach James Hale Show is live and local from the J. Michael Studio.
They got something that money couldn't buy. I was noticing when you come down the stairs that you've got pretty legs.
All right, I'll tell you a story without a happy ending.
Y'all following this?
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Dr. Chad Mitchell here with us today. Brian is in town that I thought was out of town. So anyway, let's get back to SEC draft. I do want to say, before I get out, I do want to give a lot of love to the Steelers, Pittsburgh Steelers. That's one of my favorite teams. They got a stud quarterback. I watched that kid play, and I just completely forgot his name. He's a quarterback for Pitt, Pittsburgh. The guy is an incredible football player. His hands were the smallest quarterback, I think, in the draft. They are all talking about the hand size. What's his name? Pickett. Yeah, he was up for the Heisman. Pickett. I watched him play, especially when they play in the ACC teams, their conference games. I started watching.
Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, Chad. He's really, really good. His dad, he looks like he kind of reminds me of a linebacker type guy. Good-looking kid. They talked about the hands were small. Hey, the Steelers, they share a practice facility. They've watched him all these years. They know if he can throw the ball, not throw the ball, hold the ball in cold weather and all that kind of stuff. They're really high on him. He's going to help them. As a matter of fact, I think he'll start.
Yeah, he's a good quarterback.
Really good. And we're going to talk more about his receiver, where he might wind up going. Anyway, back to the SEC. Number 1 is Georgia, 15 players drafted. LSU had 10. They were number 2. Number 3 was Alabama with 7. And believe it or not, Chad had it right. I asked him off the air, who do you think 4th was? I didn't think you'd get it. But the Ole Miss Rebels, Lane's getting it done, man. 6 players drafted from Ole Miss. That's pretty good, especially for them. Number 5 surprised me. It wasn't Texas A&M. It wasn't Auburn. It was Tennessee.
That does not surprise me. In fact, when you asked me off the air what would be next, I said, well, it's either Ole Miss or Tennessee.
Yeah.
So because Tennessee had some great players.
And after Tennessee, it was a tie between Texas A&M and Kentucky. They both had 4 players drafted. I thought A&M would have more for some reason.
Well,
they got a lot of guys coming
A&M's
back.
building.
Yeah.
You're going to see more from A&M. I'm convinced.
Then it was the Florida Gators, them in Arkansas, and South Carolina. And South Carolina surprised me. All 3 of them had 3 players drafted. In the past, in the old days, Florida have a lot of guys drafted every single year. It goes back to Dan's recruiting. I mean, they didn't recruit like they needed to.
Yeah.
Missouri had 2. Auburn had 1. You look at the ACC. Let's go this. The SEC had 65 players drafted. The Pac-12, why I always say they don't take football seriously out there, the Pac-12 had 25 players drafted total. They have 14 teams in that league.
One of the teams I want to mention on here is Arkansas.
Okay.
Yeah, they've got 3. That number's going up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, with what I've seen that Arkansas has obtained, through recruiting, through the transfer portal, I really predict you're going to see a huge difference in Arkansas this next year. I think you're going to see a bigger difference in the number of players that they get drafted. I'm excited to see how they come out. Yeah.
We were talking about Alabama's got to go there and play there. We're like, watch out. That could be the upset.
I'm telling you, Arkansas is –
they're good.
They got a good coach. They've now got great talent. They've got better talent than they had. They're just going to be a team to watch for me.
Hey, look at this now. And I'm not being ugly towards them, but I just think they have a weak conference. They do 25 players in the Big 12, even with Texas and Oklahoma in there. Texas didn't have anybody drafted.
No.
Well, look at the Big 12. They had 25. That's it, 25. That's not good now.
Yeah.
And Oklahoma was probably.
Well, Cincinnati, I think, is trying to go to the Big 12, right?
They're in.
And
They'll be in
Cincinnati
next year.
and
BYU, UCF, they're all Houston. They're going to be there next year. ACC, I always had them as third weakest conference, or strongest. I say they're back third. I got the SEC, I got Big Ten, and then I got the ACC. They had 21 players. That's the reason we need Miami back. We need Florida
FSU
State back.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's break down the ACC. Virginia Tech and North Carolina led their league, their conference, with only 4 players. 4 players drafted from both those schools.
And they had good teams, but, I mean, let's just face it. They weren't up there as contenders.
No.
And that's a problem for them.
I'll be honest with you. I was surprised Virginia Tech was one of the top ones. I thought they'd be at the bottom. NC State, now they got some guys coming up that are going to be pretty good, but NC State only had 2. Pitt had 2. Of course, the receiver's only a sophomore. They had 2. Clemson only had 2 ball players drafted.
That doesn't surprise me with the year that they had, and they're rebuilding.
But it surprised me because they have been recruiting at such a high level, playing for championships.
I get
and
it.
This year to their standards, they had a terrible year. They still won 10 games.
Yeah, but they didn't look good doing it.
And maybe the team is young. Maybe the team's young. Maybe they have a lot of guys drafted next year. But they only had 2. That surprised me. Wake Forest had 2. Florida State only had 1 guy drafted. BC only had 1 guy drafted. Virginia only 1. Georgia Tech only had 1. And their best player transferred over to Alabama, the running back. And Miami, the Hurricanes, only had 1.
Yeah, that's got to change.
Crazy.
It's got to change. Those teams and those universities have got to figure out how to recruit better players and to play better ball.
Miami did have 1 guy drafted, but at least it's the 48th consecutive year that Miami's had a player drafted. A lot of teams can never say that. That's pretty impressive right there. Like we just got through pointing out, Texas didn't have anybody drafted. All right, in the Big Ten, they had a lot of guys drafted out of there. They were the second most. All right, what did they do? They had Penn State led. I thought it'd be Ohio State. It was Penn State. They had 8 guys drafted off that ball. I still think Franklin is an underachiever. He's up for all these jobs. He did a great job at Vandy. I'm sorry. I just don't think he's an elite coach. I don't.
Yeah.
You get 8 guys drafted and you don't perform on the field like that.
I think Auburn should have beat them last year.
Auburn should have won that game. They beat themselves.
I know, and so I don't know. Maybe I'm a little biased, but I'm in agreement with you to some extent. I mean, now obviously he has the potential to be a good coach, and he's got another season to prove it.
All right, number 2 with the Buckeyes was 6, and that'll go up next year. You talking about Alabama having great receivers? Ohio State had the first 3 receivers in a row picked. Even though Williamson was from Alabama, he learned most of his stuff at Ohio State. So they had 3 in a row that has connection to Ohio State draft, and next year they're going to have a boatload of guys who are drafted again. Alabama and Ohio State have turned out to be wide receiver U. And I got to maybe give the edge to Ohio State right now. Number 3, Michigan. They had 5 players. Wisconsin had 5 players. Good, solid programs right there. That's 4 really good football teams. Michigan State, that's another great football program. They had 4 guys drafted. Minnesota, I didn't think they'd have that many. Minnesota had 4 drafted. Purdue had 3. Nebraska had 3. Illinois didn't have a good year, but they had 3 guys drafted. Iowa had 2. Rutgers had 2. Maryland had 2. And Indiana had 1. So you look at the Big Ten, why I give them so much love. They got some good football teams. Penn State, year in, year out, should be good. Ohio State can beat anybody. They're a national power. Michigan should be a national power. Wisconsin's always good. Michigan State's always good. Minnesota's got a good ball coach. I got a good coach. I like him. Purdue's always pretty good. The guy does a great job coaching here. Nebraska's been underachieving. Hasn't done anything in the Big Ten. Illinois is not that good. Iowa's a really good football team.
And they only had 2?
Yeah, Iowa.
Wow.
That guy might have overachieved coaching.
Right.
Or either got a young football team.
Yeah.
But that's a breakdown of what happened in the draft next year. what about the Crimson Tide, man? Only 6 guys drafted. Is Saban not getting it done?
Listen,
not developing players.
From what I'm seeing and hearing now, obviously some of these are transfers, but there's going to be some players drafted from Alabama this next go round. I have a feeling, just based on what I'm hearing and the transfers that are coming in, the recruiting.
What did they get that kid from Pitt? What did that kid from Pitt decide to transfer? Jordan.
Listen,
Addison.
I'm just excited about the kid from Louisville.
but we got Georgia.
And Georgia is.
If we get this we get this kid that won the Blitnikoff Award. He was an All-American wide receiver at Pitt. It's not 100% sure he's going. He's thinking about drafting. Maybe we'll hear more later. But if he does, they say to watch out for Southern Cal, Alabama, or Georgia for getting this guy. If he's looking for money,
Alabama gets him, it's going to be a similar offense to what we saw in 2020.
I'll tell you right now, Alabama gets him.
You got multiple receivers and then a running back in Jahmyr Gibbs, and then you've also got Trey Sanders there. You've got 2 running backs and then a bunch of receivers. Man, Bryce Young's going to have no excuse.
The only
He's
thing
going to have no excuse for getting it done.
I will say this. I was disappointed in the performance of Alabama's offensive line in the spring game. They got talent. They got guys coming back. And they still don't have the right guys yet, the right 5 playing up there yet.
Yeah.
But we saw
that was last year.
We saw it before.
Last year was that
They've
way.
got to be better because Nick was embarrassed in the Georgia game. In the fourth quarter, got out physical. Georgia kicked Alabama's tail in the fourth quarter.
Well, he said it to Kirby at the end of the game.
Yeah, so he didn't like that. So I know they're going. If they're not physical up front on this side of the ball, he's going to be really upset. Well, Chad, real quick, what's the best way to get up with you?
Call Southern Orthopedic Specialists at 850-785-4344 or look me up at www.chadmitchellmd.com.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. This afternoon, the Underdogs. Dave has got a great show line. Him and Boston do a great job. Make sure you tune in for that. 4 to 6. Then Feinbaum is from 6 to 10. And they'll be talking about the NFL draft. They'll be talking about the new. They've got a new poll out that we didn't go over today. We'll get it to tomorrow. They've also got the recruiting rankings at the end of April. That's changed quite a bit. Bama was nowhere to be seen. Now you can see them, and it's only going to get better. SEC will dominate that also. All right, how much time? We got to go? 20 seconds. Dang, Chad, you want to give me that physical?
You're so full of it.
Oh, my God. Hey, you see what's sitting right there? See that bottle? Don't say what kind of bottle it is.
Okay.
But it's got Bear Bryant on it.
I have one.
You got that?
Yeah, I have one at home.
I got a thing on Bear, too. But anyway, we'll be here tomorrow, 104.3 ESPN Northwest. Well, we are out.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The Paul Feinbaum Show.
Coach Kirby Smart, how are you?
Doing great, Paul. Staying busy. It's been fun. It's been really exciting, but the honeymoon's long over when we started spring practice. But you know how short the memory is in the SEC. You've seen a lot of folks kind of enjoy that too long and not turn it around. So we've been focused really hard on next year. There's so much work that goes into every season. You can't sit back and look at the last one.
Weekday evenings 6 to 10. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hear that? That's the plumpest, juiciest hot dogs you've ever seen getting their grill on. But we both know what'll make it sound even better. Oh yeah, it's a Pepsi to go with your hot dog. Because when you're chomping on America's favorite meal, relish, mustard, and onions perfectly blending into a crescendo of flavor, there's only one thing that makes everything about that moment better. A cold, refreshing Pepsi. See what I mean? It's like music to my ears. Hot dogs. Better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish.